Need the vet for anything on Monday? No, I meant for your, no way, but for your donkeys or anything, you need to do anything? No, you're good. No, don't worry about that. I'm not going anywhere.
Wendell's, hey Wendell, you got stuff, everything's okay back there?
I have some too. Can't believe it yet.
Everything's good back
No,
there?
need to
It
get
is?
going on that, hopefully tomorrow.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here Wednesday, October 15th for our 6 o'clock town board meeting. Clerk, could you please read the roll call?
Councilman Migan?
Here.
Councilwoman Snow?
Here.
Councilwoman Pitt? Here. Councilman McCarthy?
Here.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Here, please stand and follow us in the Pledge of Allegiance. On the agenda tonight will be the presentation for solar on town buildings. Wendell, come on up. Thank you.
Hello. As you guys know, in January, we got the electric bills that were twice as much as they were last year. And in February, we got the same thing. And so on February 21st, I had emailed the entire board about, and Christine, about how we were going to be out of money in the budget within 5 months. So right after that, because we were paying, like the supply charges were 5.8 cents a kilowatt hour, and they went up to 16.4. So with that, it started. James called me, and we set up a time to meet, and Jimbo was there, and we sat down and talked about our options. So the first thing we talked about was looking, well, I brought up looking into solar, and James reached out to, I believe it was South Salem or North Salem?
Or Sam.
North Salem, and they were going over it, and Jimbo was involved, and we talked with them and got some stuff back on what it was. But with that program that they had, you buy into a solar farm, so you would get a reduced rate, but you would not. The savings weren't that significant, and you would every year it can go up. Mm-hmm. So I went with their permission. I talked to the Conservation Board, Mark Chifkin, and then he got me in with Rob, who runs the Conservation Board, and Joe, who will be doing the presentation in a minute. And that's how all this started. So with that, we met a few times, and we've reached out to a couple of solar companies, which he will talk about, and that's where we're at. So Joe, if you'd like to come up, and he put this presentation together with some of the costs and stuff, and at the end we would like to talk about there's 5 buildings altogether that we're looking at doing the highest rated buildings, and we can tell you which buildings, and we would want to get first an engineer to look at them, make sure we can put solar panels on them. We've gotten a quote, so we'll go from there after Joe discusses.
Great, thanks, Wendell.
Thank you. This from up here.
Thanks, Joe.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So yes, I was contacted about looking into this. I have some experience. I had a similar experience 3 years ago. I got an electric bill that just shocked me to the core, and by the end of that year, I had solar panels installed, and I haven't paid for electricity since. And this past weekend, we just had panels installed on our other house. So So we were, as a conservation board, we're interested in sustainability and green energy, but we're also the cost-effective aspect of this is also critical. I mean, at this time, right now, it's kind of frightening. So I'm just going to dive right into the. What I did was I went through NYSERDA, which is the state's energy authority, and I looked up 6 of the top-rated contractors that they recommend for this sort of thing, contacted them, and was in touch with them, and we got 2 companies that gave us full estimates on 5 buildings and really educated us to a great deal. This represents probably the most thorough one, and I thought I would just put it out there and show you what type of potential there is here. This shows systems on 5 of the buildings, and it shows their current usage and how much the percent electric there, sort of in the middle, is how much that we could expect that could possibly cover of our usage. With the highway garage has a huge roof and doesn't use that much electricity, so that one could go 100%. The Lathrop building has large roof also. These other ones run in the 70 some odd range. The senior center, we actually had an estimate. This says 40%. We had an estimate from another company to cover more like 75%. So the cost, currently there's a New York State rebate that's shown there, and then the federal direct pay is sort of in lieu of a tax credit. It operates the same way and is good for 30%. So it shows the net cost for each one of these. They range from $30,000 up to $162,000 for each one. And you can see that if you look down back on the left, current usage is around 250 megawatt hours. That's 1,000 kilowatt hours per year, and this could provide a little over 200 probably. Cover a pretty good amount of it. So it's a pretty big cost. The total was, $385,000. This is just sort of some graphics from the contractor, which shows how, what percent we could expect. This is in particular for the Lathrop Center. They're recommending an 80 kilowatt system, and they're saying that could cover pretty much everything. And the way it does it is by the way we would do that is by a net metering system that the state does, whereby, and this graph shows how the solar generation exceeds usage in the summer, and so it's sort of like a squirrel. We can actually build up credits and then use them in the winter to offset. And so we can, and usually if it's set up well, we can cover, in this case, all of the electricity use. So, and this is just a graphic to show how over time, how it can pay off. They're sort of speculating as to how much electricity will cost and that sort of thing. But I look at it a different way. I look at it as, for myself, when we got solar panels, I got a low interest state loan for 15 years, and I didn't put out a penny for the panels, and my loan payment started out as $50 less than what I was saving every month on electricity. 3 years later, now that's grown to $150. So my costs are fixed. I'm paying $160 a month for 15 years. And electricity costs are just going up from there. So I thought about if the town were to finance it with a bond, for example, I wanted to look at, how could a monthly payment compare to savings. And before I get to that, the industry standard for solar panels is 25-year warranty on the panels, 10 years labor. So I look at this as sort of a 25-year investment. Really, the panels would likely go more than that, probably 30 years or more. After that point, I mean, the roofs will need tending to and that sort of thing. But this is sort of how I broke it down. If you look at the total cost, and I thought if we were to finance, and this I do this showing the cost of everything together cumulatively, but this could be done, we might do certain buildings. This is just to give you an idea. If we had a 20-year, perhaps like a 20-year bond at 4%, the monthly payment would be about $23.36, I estimate. Whereas the annual electrical production of around 207,000 kilowatt hours at 16.7 cents, which is what we were paying in February, the electricity produced would save around $2,800 a month. So on the face of it, if you look at it that way, we could start out coming out ahead. The thing is, there are contingencies, and there could be extra costs in terms of some of the electrical infrastructure, transformers, and certainly roofs are an issue. Roofs would have to be inspected, and in order to put on solar panels, roofs have to be pretty much new. So some of our roofs are quite new and recent, and some of them are very old, but need to be redone soon anyway. So now would be a good time. So I then added to this, for example, a senior center and the teen center. Those roofs are old, and I came up with I estimated what it might cost and factored that in, and you can see it gets a little tighter there. But I think my point is that there's some amount of room there to if we need to do, if roofs need to be done or that sort of thing. But I think that there's potential here to do very well. Another way I like to look at it is what you're really doing when you buy solar panels and install solar panels is you're prepaying for electricity. And so I then took the amount, if we had the loan at, let's say a loan at 4% for 20 years, the total cost of the loan is, I put that there. And then using the estimate for the total amount of electricity produced, then we get a figure of about 11.2 cents per kilowatt hour. So in other words, we would be paying for 25 years, we would be paying 11.2 cents per kilowatt hour compared to what today is 16 some odd cents. And it's not going to go, I don't think it's going to go down. So this is how I look at it. I look at what's the loan payment, how much are we saving per month, and then how much are we paying in the long run. And these are just sort of, this is just one proposal that we're looking at, and I think it's pretty close to where we might be. But some of these things might be adjusted in terms of how large a system we can put on, and so forth and so on. And let's see if that, one other consideration, and that I wanted to make clear too, was the net metering system allows us to offset supply charges, which are down on the bottom here. And that's where you see that 16.4 cents. There's also other charges that made it go up to 16.7. we can't offset the demand charge, which is the demand charge is a monthly charge that can be up to 30% of the bill, which is based upon the peak usage. It's basically like the 1 hour a month when we use the most electricity, and they charge businesses for that because it reflects the strain on the grid, basically. So we can only offset the supply charges, but if we have solar panels and our peak period is during the day when the sun's shining, then we're going to use our electricity first, and it will reduce the amount that we draw from the utility. So it should be reducing that that charge as well. Not eliminating it, but reducing it. So that's sort of another way of looking at it. I don't know how that would, there's no telling how well that would work out for us, but that's another possible benefit. As far as the direct pay is going to expire as the tax credit expires. For municipalities and commercial projects, the deadline, projects need to be started by July 4th of 2026. If they are started by July 4th, we would then have 4 years to complete the project. So it could actually go till 2029 or 2030. So the main thing is to get it started by then. If it's started after that, then it has to be completed by December 31st, 2027. So there is a deadline looming, but there's time. I would think there's probably time to get it started by then if we chose to do that. So, and that might be it. And then the other thing Wendell had mentioned about having inspections on the roofs. If we were to contract to have panels installed, the contractor would do inspections anyway. But I think it's in our interest to do that beforehand if we can, because I don't think there's a lot of point in going through all the trouble of bidding and starting a project and then getting partway through it and being told, you can't put panels on this building. We already sort of figure that probably a roof replacement is due on the teen center and the senior center anyway. Our other concern was with the Lathrop Center. It has in talking to Wendell about this, it has a coating that has to be inspected every 5 years. And I don't know how we would have to look into how that would be affected by solar panels. So these are sort of the things we're looking at that we're trying to get sorted out now so we have a better understanding. And as I mentioned before, also, there could be issues with electrical infrastructure. That sort of thing comes up in these projects. And that's it.
The electrical infrastructure, you mean like the actual wiring in the building, like the panels in the building?
No, I was not likely that. I was thinking more like the transformers outside and the bigger, more the external stuff.
But that would fall on us, not on the utility company?
It could. I'm not sure.
Don't they own the transformers?
Yes.
Then perhaps it would. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't then. But
Yeah, because usually you're only responsible from the transformer to your building.
right. Okay. Okay.
And then you answered my question on the, I was curious who determines the quality of the roof, but I guess we would outsource that and determine it ourselves. If the roof, how many years of expectancy is left in it, and then whether you could put panels on it or not. That we wouldn't leave that up to the company who's putting on the panels, right? Because what would stop them from coming in and saying, you need a new roof, and getting that also, right? We'd like to know where we stand prior to that.
I think it would be in our best interest.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
in our best interest to do that, right? But we can also get options from the company as far as a roof replacement.
They will do an inspection before they put panels on anyway.
But would the company also do a new roof?
Oh, the company itself? Not necessarily. No, probably not. They would, you know, either they would contract it out or we would. It depends. Sometimes they'll, but, yeah.
And what's the definition of being started? Right? Getting the project started. Does that mean contract signed? Does that mean construction beginning? What is the company's definition of?
I don't know. I would have to look into that.
So it makes sense to, before you contract the company, to get the roofs looked at.
Right.
You're not gonna contract a solar company and then have something else that comes up.
Right.
Right, so I've actually put out a couple of things to a couple of structural engineers, and we have gotten a price back to do all 5 buildings at $2,500, which is not bad to have all the buildings inspected and stuff. They inspect the roof and make sure that you can put solar panels on them.
Oh, like the framing and everything to make sure it can handle the weight.
Right, and all of them are different, because you have Town Hall here, which has a pretty new roof on it, where the Senior Center, the Legion there doesn't. That roof is really old. Teen Center's really old, and Highway Garage is a metal roof, so that's totally different than everything else, so.
Lathrop's like 8 years old?
Since we've done the coating on it, yes, yeah. And all those panels, it looks like we would be putting on the auditorium, which is a pitched roof, so we wouldn't be putting it on the flat roof side, which, you know, because that might draw more problems with the way they would have to install the panels. So, but as we go along, we try to check everything from make sure it'll work to what it's gonna save and everything.
And it would work for everything, the electrical draw, like the buildings, the lighting in the parking lots.
Yeah, like, especially at the park, Lathrop does half of the parking lot lights, and the teen center does the, most of the other ones. Yeah.
Right.
The unit that's by the dog park, with the shed there, that does the big parking lot lights there, and the 1 row of lights.
Okay.
But all the other ones would be covered under this too. And, also, when we started in February with this, we also looked into if we get automatic lights that shut off and this and that, so we're also looking at that to reduce our kilowatt hour usage, which then, because over the years, it's been going up as the buildings are getting used more. So we're trying to, it's a balance that you have to do to, you don't know if we have, use at the park and, 50 more events up there, say, over a year, what's that gonna do to the electric? So, right now, we couldn't afford to do that.
Did we also say, Wendell, that this might connect to the electric chargers in some way that?
Yeah, to also, that's another thing that we've been looking into is which that hasn't come up, but there's grants about putting in the solar the EV charging stations. And then we were thinking about putting 2 here at Town Hall and some up at Lakeside. We would have to hook those up to here, so that would also keep the cost down to run those charging stations.
Is battery storage too far of a reach for us to store power during the day, like a battery backup system at these buildings? So that would, at nighttime then, and then or cloud cover
That
days
wasn't
you can
in
utilize?
no, usually with net metering, you don't work
Yeah.
with batteries.
Right.
Because we're just trading. And it's
You're
one-
basically, in the daytime, the meter's going backwards, and then in the summertime, you're being charged. In the dark, you're being charged.
The thing about net metering, though, is that it's building by building. So any energy credits that we get for this building have to be used in this building.
Oh, okay.
So we can't spread them out around.
It's building specific.
So.
Right. So we can't put a huge one, like, we looked at doing the highway garage, it's a huge building. If you put enough on there, you could,
Yeah.
light all of our buildings, but you can't do it that way. Then they would want to go on a feeder system, and it's a totally different, where you sell it to them at wholesale, and they sell it back to you at, at cost, at regular
So
cost.
would come out of the transfer station would be only for the transfer station?
Well, for the
Yes.
highway garage, the transfer
I'm
station.
sorry, the highway garage,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm not sure, which we haven't gotten that far, if we could make it bigger to feed the transfer station too, because I'm not sure Bob would be able to tell us more. I
Yeah.
don't remember the electric bills on that, but you have the compactor and everything there, so that's probably uses a lot of power too over the course of a year, so.
Yeah, the highway garage seems like a no-brainer with the amount of space there.
Yeah, oh,
You're right.
yeah. But that's not, that doesn't use,
Right.
that uses half the power that Lathrop uses. And this building uses more than the highway garage also. So that's why we went over the top 5 and to do it.
Yeah.
And the teen center's up there too, because everything in there is electric. There's no, fuel oil for the heat or anything at all. Everything's
So,
electric powered. Well,
Joe,
it's
I'm
a
sorry.
hyper heat, but
Thank you both for putting so much time and effort into this. Would you be able to send me or all of us your presentation, just so we can get a harder look at the numbers?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
good.
I also have a spreadsheet with this so you can kind of tweak the numbers and if you want to change the loan amount and so forth and so on. I'll pass that along.
Great.
I had one quick question. On the credits you were saying for a cloudy week or summer compared to winter, how do the credits, because you said,
When you'll get a bill that'll say how much you used and how much you produced. And the meter runs 2 ways. So when we're producing more than we use, it's going out.
it goes back to the grid?
It goes back to the grid, and that
Okay.
is registered as a credit, and it shows up. So, and it just builds up throughout the summer, and then you use it in the winter. And it's 1-to-1.
Okay, so it's not like Wendell was saying where we sell it for wholesale and we pay double retail on,
Right.
it's just a credit per
Yes.
time-wise?
The Lathrop Building and the Teen Center do have, the Lathrop Center could do it on a wholesale basis, what they call a VEDR arrangement. And we could just load it up with panels and you can pay for anything. You can pay for any fees or anything.
Right.
But it just doesn't, it pays maybe 11
less, yeah.
11 cents a kilowatt hour. So what you're doing is you're making a huge investment for less.
Right.
It just, we look.
But just, I didn't know about the credit. That's great, the way they do that. If that's possible, then that's
Yes,
much more sensible than selling it back to them.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a very generous plan.
I just have one more question. At what point do you max out on credits? So
You
with
don't.
this plan, you don't max out on credits, you're not giving it back to the grid?
You can build up as much, we could build up as much credits as we can, but ideally, we'll use it all. We'll and I think coming close, like we're looking closely at these buildings, and we realize Lathrop, we don't really need as large of a system as they said, because we had an issue with the heaters this past winter, and we used.
So we were a little higher.
And unusually,
It's
so we would really want
it's
to
just
get
gonna
it
come
just
down.
right, where we think, where we're covering just enough. So, that's the idea. They used to have a deal where they would pay you at the end of the year, but they don't do that anymore. You just build up credits and you use them.
I would imagine if you were amassing, if there was an issue with credits, then you would just keep transitioning the buildings over to more and more electric, so you would just keep using it anyway then, right? You would go to your heat systems would be that way if you were accumulating a lot, right, Wendell?
Yeah, you could use,
You wouldn't want to give things back to the utility company, so if you were generating a lot more than you were using, then just.
Right, after the
make
first
buildings
year, if
more
you
electrical
notice that
dependent.
you have more credits
Yeah.
than you used,
Sure.
yeah, we
Make the
could,
building more electrical dependent
Right,
then,
right.
right? Yeah. Great.
all right, so the only other question is, if we do want to look forward and start looking more into this, we would need to get the buildings checked. So, like I said, we've only gotten one quote, which was $2,500 to do the 5 buildings. I have 3 more people out there that are supposed to get back to me, but should we move forward with that? I
The
don't know how. the board
2,500
feels.
covers all the building inspections,
Those
Wendell?
5 buildings.
And you're waiting for 2 more estimates, you
So
said?
3 more.
3 more
yeah.
estimates? Do you have that money in your budget? Like, do you want us to give you like a 20?
No.
You
No,
know,
our electrical budget, like I said, we've moved money into there from other spots just to cover everything this year, for this year, yeah. So it's very tight right now.
how soon do you anticipate those other bids coming back?
Probably by the end of next week.
So what, they'll give you a comprehensive idea of how long the life of the remaining?
Yes, and what they can hold on.
It's more about the structure.
Structural stability,
yes,
right?
The guy's already said if he would be coming, he needs to know, give him a couple of the panels, so they know the weights and everything else, and that's the way they look at it. So they make sure that the building can easily hold the panels on there.
The panels weigh less than snow, and a lot of snow, but they don't weigh less than panels plus snow.
Do they hold, they don't hold, is there an issue with them holding snow in storms? or
What's
not?
that?
Is there an issue with those panels holding snow in storms, or the
Usually-
usually sheds right off of them?
Usually not. Usually
They're on a-
it slides off because they're pretty smooth and they're black.
Yeah, and
So
they're on a
once
slant,
the
too.
sun gets on them,
Yeah.
it just comes off. Occasionally, I've had my panels, occasionally it'll ice up and I'll lose a few days if it sticks on there, but usually it comes off.
All right.
So Wendell, you'll need a resolution tonight for up to 2,500?
Yeah, if we could do that, then we could get working on that, and then, like, we would get a report at the end for each building, and so we could look at it, and that way, then we could get this closer too, because if there's a building that we can't do it on, we take that out of the equation, and then also, like we said, we put in, Joe put some money in there to do the roof on the teen center and the roof on the Legion in with this, so, then we could get quotes on, at least find out, make sure we're close to what the roofs are gonna cost, and then we'll have the better picture of everything.
Okay.
Can we just make a motion not to exceed $2,500?
Yeah, that's why I was just scribbling some notes down. When we do the resolutions, we'll do something that, to inspect roofs and up to 2,500, and, for life expectancy and structural stabilities to accept solar panels on 5 town buildings, right, Wendell? Okay, we'll do that in a little bit.
Okay, perfect. All right,
And then
any other
hopefully,
questions?
hopefully they come in less, the other bids.
Yeah.
I don't have any more questions.
No,
Okay.
thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job on that presentation. All right, next item on the agenda is privilege of the floor with respect to agenda items. Anyone with a comment regarding the agenda this evening, come on up, state your name, address for the record, and please try and keep your comments around 3 minutes. Agenda items only, we'll have the other stuff at the end. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to resolutions. First resolution tonight be Resolution 129, establishing 2026 rates for the transfer station. I'll make a motion for Resolution 129. Could I have a second?
Second?
Okay, Councilman Migan,
Aye.
Councilwoman Snow,
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy,
Aye.
Councilwoman Pitt,
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt, aye. 129 passes. Resolution 133, budget amendments for fiscal year 2025. Budget amendments are on every single month. Christine does a good job putting these together, showing everyone what's coming in and what's going out, and keeps track of it month by month for us. I'll make a motion for Resolution 133. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Migan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Snow?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilwoman Pitt?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt, aye. 133 passes. Resolution 134, payment of bills for the town of Pauling. I'll make a motion for Resolution 134. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Migan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Snow?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilwoman Pitt?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt, aye. 134 passes. Resolution 135, adopting updated employee handbook. Thanks for getting this done. We do have things that change from the state. They're handed down to us. It goes to our HR company. Ian reviews it, tells us what has to get put in there, and they're updating it as it comes through. Definitely one of the perks of having an HR company here working on things on a day-to-day basis for us. I'll make a motion for Resolution 135. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just had a quick question,
Sure,
James.
go ahead.
So will these updates then go to the department heads that will give them to the employees? How will
Yeah,
that
sure.
work?
We can shoot an email out to them to let them know that there'll be change and they'll be outlined. I think they're outlined in red for people to see,
Okay,
right,
so it's
Steph, out the
redlined?
gate, so they can see it. And then we'll let everyone know as soon as it's available as well. And then it goes to the website as well.
Great.
The handbook.
Great, thank
I
you.
have a question on that. Is it possible to quote out a price for each employee to receive a hard spiral-bound copy of the handbook? And will department heads be having employees sign for said handbooks, if we're able to do that? And then will those signage sheets be forwarded to the town board or held in the supervisor's office?
We can look into I don't know what the pricing would be offhand, but we can definitely look into it. Sure. You know, see hard copies and then try and get everyone to sign for them. All right, we'll look into that. We'll get a hold of Ian and see if there's a cost for that as well and what it is.
Great.
Councilman Migan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Snow?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy? Councilwoman Pitt?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt? Aye. 135 passes. Resolution 136, approving preliminary budget for fiscal year 2026 and directing a public hearing. The date for the public hearing is it in this resolution somewhere? Oh, yeah, so it'll be November 5th at 6 p.m. will be the public hearing on the budget. I'll make a motion for Resolution 136. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Anyone, any questions too? Just try and make time to get with Christine in the bookkeeping office and, go through any concerns or questions you may have so that, as we make changes throughout the process, it gives her time to crunch the numbers and show you where it's coming from as well. Councilman Migan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Snow?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilwoman Pitt?
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt, aye. 136 passes. 137, authorizing workplace investigation. I'll make a motion for 137. This was asked for a couple of meetings ago, so Nancy did have this written up and sent over to us. I know, thanks for getting cost estimates on this as well. And we'll look for a second on Resolution 137.
Second.
Any discussion from the board?
Yeah, I for sure would like to discuss this. If we can go through, please, regarding a workplace investigation, okay? And now this investigation, due to a vote that was taken at our last meeting, we did vote to outsource said investigation, right, with a comparison to another investigation, which, as I thought more about it after I left the meeting, I actually, the vote is the vote. It is what it is at this point, but, so what are we doing here? We just hired an HR firm, right? And now we have another workplace investigation that we're outsourcing that cost to the taxpayers, although we just hired an HR firm. So if we could just go through this together, please, to clarify for me what exactly is going on here, that'd be helpful for me.
I think there would be a cost with the HR firm anyway if they were to handle employee investigations, correct, Nancy?
They usually do it for their clients, and I was told that the cost would be much less than outsourcing it. So I could be wrong. I know that you approved having an investigation last week. I don't know that you approved outsourcing it, but this was the referral that we got from our HR consultant. So now, if you want to, you have to approve the expenditure at this amount.
So if I recall, our HR consultant was $200 an hour for
I don't
workplace
remember.
investigations?
Sounds
Right.
right.
Yes, I did talk to Ian. It is $200 an hour as opposed to $365 an hour. And I believe this company estimated the cost at $5,000?
I was going to ask
Dollars?
if there's a cap
that-
on it.
I think there was another investigation by a whole different law firm, I think, last year. And that was the number that was put out in email. I don't believe there was any associated final cost with this.
Is there a way to cap how much, well, do we know how long, do you have an estimate how long these things take?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna
Or
ask.
how many people, how, yeah.
I don't think we can get an estimate of how long it's gonna take. They, you know, it's completely impossible to say.
Do we have last week's resolution by chance? Is there a way, my iPad is dead. Is there a way to look that up? Does anybody have it? So we can refresh ourselves to what we actually voted on last week?
I think we voted on not utilizing the HR firm, right? Is that, if I remember correctly, Nancy, right? It was outsourcing the investigation because there was concern of a pre-existing relationship with the town, right? Is
No,
that-
we discussed that. I don't remember if it was in the,
so the HR firm had worked on our handbook, is what it is. So they had worked on the handbook.
That's what I'm looking for now.
So that's the only relationship that existed, was that they put together the handbook changes for the town. But the costs are obviously what the concern would be, because it's a big difference from $200 an hour or $365 an hour.
See if I could find it.
As well as $265 for senior counsels and for $150 for paralegals. I don't know what other, how many people will be working on it at any one time? That's a concern, right? Would it just be the $365 an hour, or would it be, if all three people are working on it, is it $365 an hour, $265 an hour, and $150 an hour? I guess we need to know how many people will be working on the investigation at any one time to get a better estimate on what our hourly cost would be.
When we received the quote of $365, there was not a cap, or there was not a proposed? I can't remember. I remember the price, but I can't remember if there was,
I don't remember.
no, I don't think so.
they didn't say, no?
You know, because $365 an hour, it still doesn't sound terrible. I'm sure they're gonna get a lot of work done, but are we gonna have hours where we're getting $365 for somebody, we're getting $265 for another person, and we're getting $150 for another person? Now your hourly charges are very, very high. And then with our HR company, it's $200 per hour, but what additional personnel comes with that at an hourly cost as well? That's the only way you're gonna compare apples to apples, if you see how many people will be involved in the investigation and what the carrying costs for each one of those people are.
So I'll just chime in here, because what happened was that my personnel file was foiled by a resident and released, although it happened maybe 5 months ago. So I didn't find out about any complaint in my file until after the person from the public somehow already knew that I had complaints in my file. So they knew before I did. So I asked for an independent investigation, because I felt like, how could a person outside know specifically to ask for complaints in my personnel file unless there was some kind of a leak? Before I even knew. It was kept secret. And looking back at our HR firm, I have a few emails that mention prior business doings
With the handbook.
with the
Right.
handbook, with the
Right.
person that made the complaint, and also some town board members. So to me, I'm happy that Ian recommended Christopher Kurtz of Bond, Schoenig and King. He spoke with him. He said that he would be interested in the investigation. Ian said that he does phenomenal work and that his investigations are extremely thorough. And that's what I would like. And
I think
just an outside, neutral investigation.
I think I think what everyone is just trying to get to
Yeah.
is what the cost difference is gonna be, right? Because
So I don't know if this is helpful, but the last investigation that we did, that was a little over $5,000. The hourly rate was $245.
Gotcha. So this is even high, so this is still even higher. And again, we still don't, I wish we could find out from Ian, sooner. Again, there's 3 different hourly rates in this resolution, but we don't know what 3 rates our HR company would be asking for.
So I'm on record with my concerns about it anyway, just so everybody knows.
And the last investigation, that was last year, before we had an HR firm, and Nancy was just showing me that it was $245 an hour, for reference. So, I mean, moving forward, if we go ahead and, or I shouldn't say we, if I go ahead and vote on this, I'm just thinking ahead that, everybody's gonna wanna recommend an outside counsel. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? What if,
Sure, I guess you'd be correct, right? Because there's always gonna be potentially a conflict because this HR firm already has contact with the board and with the handbook and things, so I guess the same thing would come up. And obviously all of our files were foiled, right? It wasn't just yours, Councilman Mike, I think everyone's personnel files were asked for. So,
what do you guys think about that? I mean,
that's a
anybody
good,
have an opinion on that?
what would happen, right? If it was myself or you or Councilwoman Snow or Councilman McCarthy
Or any employee,
Or any
quite frankly.
Well, an employee wouldn't really matter because they're not voting on it, right? I don't know, does that matter? It's a good point, it's a valid point. I didn't think of it that way. Yeah. Would it be outsourced every single time? Like I say, because all of our files were requested. I don't know how many foils have been completed to date, and how many haven't. But it's a good point, right? Eventually, all of our files are going to go out there because they were all requested, and we've heard from our attorneys and HR and Committee on Open Government and all that. So what would stop every investigation pertaining to a personnel file from being outsourced from your HR company? Unless that's just the route that everyone wants to go.
Or
as
any
well.
investigation, for that matter.
Yeah,
So
it's a good point.
I like the fact that Ian recommended this company because they're reputable. This is what they do, and they're thorough, and they're neutral. They don't know any of us, right?
I
But
think
isn't
you'd
that
have
the
to just-
same thing that Ian does? I mean, isn't that why we hired this firm to do investigations on questions? And, you know, we all voted to hire this HR
I think we
firm.
hired him to
And,
get our,
well, it was regarding all these
regarding-
issues, all personnel issues. And I don't know. I mean, what if this turns into be $10,000, this investigation? I mean,
Well, I think you got to put some kind of cap on it, but you can't approve anything open-ended. For starters, there has to be a cap on spending.
so as
For
far as
sure.
I know, Ian said that they'd be sending us a proposal, so we don't even have a proposal yet that
Yeah.
that I've seen.
a proposal for,
The investigation
Investigation.
costs.
I mean, a cost.
When did Ian mention that?
Friday, October 3rd, in an email.
And we haven't gotten it yet?
You'd have to ask Ian, I haven't seen it.
No, I
I
haven't
would
seen
assume
you
we would
guys
send it
have
to the
seen
full
it.
board.
No, I didn't see it.
Now, this, I may not have the exact date. It was either October 3rd or before. Nancy forwarded us this email, basically saying his rate, he does phenomenal work, according to Ian, and his investigations are extremely thorough, and he will be sending us a proposal.
Okay, so that was sometime early October, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're at the 15th, so maybe we should follow through with Ian and see where that proposal is, so we have some kind of number. And really, why would that be coming from Ian? Why wouldn't that proposal be coming from this
This
other
firm?
company?
It's not the proposal. This was an interaction between Ian and Nancy, I believe, and then Nancy forwarded us, if my memory serves me.
That is the proposal from Bond Shonik and,
This, right here?
yeah.
Okay.
But they can't give us
A
a
time frame.
cap on spending as far as
I
how
mean,
much could
you
be
could
spent?
give it a cap, but I just don't know how would you tell when you've gotten all the information that you need. I mean, you can't, if you think you have it, but you're with a cap, do they come back to the board and ask for a higher cap?
And didn't Ian say that he could do this investigation and give fair judgment on it?
I'm just telling you what my concerns are. And I have 3 emails back to like 2014 mentioning how 2 or 3 people have worked with Ian on phone calls and different things. So
Well,
that's
I'm well
my,
aware. I mean, I worked with Ian, you can just say it was me, I worked with Ian on the handbook.
yeah, I'm not gonna mention any names.
Okay, I'm saying publicly, I worked with Ian on the handbook, but I'm not involved in this investigation.
No, I get that.
So,
Unless you were gonna move, unless you would make, unless you made a change to the handbook that, I mean, that you would outsource all the investigations moving forward? I don't know, I'm just being honest with you, I don't know what you would, I'm trying to find the middle ground here of what you would do,
I
right? It
only
wouldn't
asked
be-
for an external investigation because unwarranted, unsubstantiated claims were put out to the public.
So like, what would you do moving
I
forward?
don't know
as far
why
as-
in 4 or 5 months, or 4 months, nobody told me about any complaint. So, yes, I don't trust the process here, I have to say.
So again, I guess what we're back to is with all the files being foiled, right? Everyone's up here. We would have to then, you would have to have an understanding, right, that the HR firm wouldn't handle any of the investigations. You wouldn't, why would you outsource one and not the other then?
That's a conversation maybe we could have with the HR to see what they think. You know, I'm not sure, but I'm only telling you
Right? Is that-
my situation and my, the reason why I feel that way. And just the fact that I never even knew that these claims were in there for months.
I don't think that pertains to this resolution, though.
It does
Councilman.
it does to me because I don't feel like I've been treated fairly. And even in our, well, even the handbook that we approved tonight, the town board has established a set of procedures to provide for orderly resolution and differences at the earliest possible stage and to promote harmonious and cooperative relationship between employees, department heads, and members of the town board, which will enhance the overall operation of the town. Town will attempt to resolve all work-related complaints that are appropriate for handling under this policy. So, yes, I would like an external, somebody who isn't getting paid here every month. That's what external means to me.
Right, but in fairness, their HR company's only been here for a month. It's not like it's someone who's been here
But they have worked with people here for the last year or two.
on the handbook. Right?
Anyway, I'm not gonna say any more about it. I'm not gonna vote on this because it pertains to me. I'm gonna,
Okay.
just so you know.
Anything else from the board? Okay, so I'll put it to, do we have a second on the table?
Yes.
We do. Councilman Mike, and you're not gonna vote. Councilwoman Snow?
I just, I'm sorry, Councilman Snow. Just one more thing. It does in this reso sedate the best interests of the employees, right? So, employees, elected officials, and town operations. I mean, I don't see how we're going to, respectfully to Councilman Migan, of course, how we're going to outsource one workplace investigation and not continue to outsource them from here on out. This is the reason why we hired the HR when we did.
The reason that I hired HR is because we have the HR was not up to speed that we had, and including different forms and many different things. But again, I'm not going to say any more.
I think it's, why we hired HR or not, I think to Councilwoman Pitt's point is, an investigation last year was outsourced, and now this one is being outsourced. So there would just have to be, I guess, especially in this climate where not just your files, right, everyone's files have been requested. So we would have to be then moving forward knowing that we're going to outsource all the investigations and then
But would we have an investigation for, so yes, our personnel's files were foiled. However, when one may not have any complaints in their file, there's not going
Certainly.
to be investigations.
course.
So I think we just need to take that into consideration.
Right, but we wouldn't know that until the files, till the information goes out there, and then,
No, we would know because we've looked at them.
yeah.
I mean, I've looked at my
Oh,
personnel file.
okay, so everyone's had a chance, I didn't know, okay,
Yeah.
you're right, okay, so
Yeah,
everyone just went through that.
So this might not be, listen, in all the years that I've been on this board, we've never had an investigation. So it could be possibly that we had one outsourced last year, there's a request for one being outsourced now, but that doesn't mean that we may not have an investigation, I don't know, for a couple of years, who knows? So, again, I think it depends on the individual situation. That's just my opinion on this.
And to what Councilwoman Snow says, I think we just, this is not just about personnel files, right? This could be about anything. Right now, we're discussing a personnel file or personnel files. But any employee can come to us at any time and want to outsource an investigation. And as far as the investigation or the case from last year, there was, there was a lawsuit involved with that. Right? So I think we just need to be very careful when comparing cases, because really, that's a very difficult thing to do. We can't be narrow-minded and thinking that this is just about personnel files, because it's not. It could be about anything. It could be about any complaint. And I don't necessarily feel that allegation or perception should be then, that payment for that should be borne by the taxpayer.
We probably shouldn't be releasing unsubstantiated claims to the public then. So I just want to make a few comments. I really didn't want to get this far into it. I'd like to briefly address the unsubstantiated and uninvestigated matters that we're talking about tonight.
Oh, so Councilman, let's do that during board discussion then. Just stay on the resolutions, and if you have something like that, we can do afterwards. All right, so you're not going to vote on 137, Councilman Migan?
No, I think I will.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. So, Councilman Migan,
Yay.
Councilwoman Snow,
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy,
Nay.
Councilwoman Pitt.
Nay.
So I'm going to vote no until we have an estimate on what this could cost. I'm not against outsourcing it because I understand you feel that it's a right, and it is a right. Anyone on the board can ask for it. I agree with Councilwoman Pitt. Any employee can ask for it as well.
I just feel it's a conflict.
I understand. I'm not saying I disagree with you. What I'm saying is I'd like to see Nancy, maybe you can have a conversation with them in our HR company. And we've never approved something just blindly here with no end cost and gain. And
Well,
they must have done investigations.
The investigation into an employee last year was open-ended, I have to say.
But I can't remember if it was or not. I can't remember if that's true or not.
Well,
But
that should be looked
if they become very highly recommended from our HR firm, right, as Ian said, I'm going to assume that they've worked with them in the past, and they must have the ability to give us an idea of what they spend on these things, and they can get an email to this board or to you, what these investigations have cost them in the past, right? I mean, there can't be a window of, is it $5,000 or is it $10,000, or there has to be, if they've done them in the past and they are experienced with them, then they should be able to give us an idea and a window of what they would be.
That's a fair request.
All right.
I mean,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
also, just thinking back, I mean, maybe there have been times where employees have, wanted to bring something to light and have hired their own attorney to handle matters that, frankly, past boards may not have even known about, or we may not have even known about, right? So I was just thinking about that as well. That's all.
All right. Next item on the agenda will be town board items, special consideration and new business, and I'll start with Councilman
Excuse me,
Migan.
Supervisor, did you want to do the thing for the buildings
Oh,
now?
you're right. Yeah, Wendell's resolution, right? We'll make a resolution for up to $2,500, pending the other 3 bids coming back, to inspect the roofs of the 5 buildings Wendell spoke about this evening, to inspect life expectancy and structural stability for those roofs to accept solar panels. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion from the board?
Yes, just quick discussion on that. Do we need to really specify what type of solar panels we're thinking about? Because I know, obviously, their weight varies, correct?
They do an average, and he will take that and, he said there's a formula where they put it in, and so if it's 50 pounds a panel, which I have no idea what they weigh, I guess they go above that X amount just to make sure everything else
Okay.
is on it, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, do we have a second for that?
Yes.
Okay, Councilman Migan,
Aye.
Councilwoman Snow,
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy,
Aye.
Councilwoman Pitt.
Aye.
Supervisor Schmidt, aye. Here you go, Wendell. All right, I'll start with Councilman Migan first.
Sure. So on October 1st, we got an email from Mark Chipkin in regards to Trevor Granger for the comprehensive.
We got his resume yesterday. in
Yeah,
our email.
I forwarded it to everybody. I actually asked to have it on as a resolution to put him on our agenda for tonight to approve him. I understand there's going to be a meeting between now, of the potential meeting of the comprehensive advisory board between now and our next meeting. So I'd like to fill that 9th spot up, and Trevor is an excellent candidate. He's highly educated, and I actually would like to make a motion to add him on to the committee.
So the only reason I didn't put him on the agenda tonight is, one, we only got his resume yesterday. So I don't even know if the whole board had a chance to look at it, and we were waiting to hear back from one more person.
Sure.
We do have 8 people on already who were scheduled for the meeting. They've already been put together on an email
So
chain.
the first 7 people, I didn't know who they were until the day we voted, that it was voted on here, just so everybody knows that.
Well,
This is a guy that is.
5 of them are already on some form of town board or another.
But
place.
I had no idea who you
Where did-
guys
where was that?
picked.
Yeah. But everyone the recommendations for the committee are all from this board. They weren't just picked out of everyone was referrals from everyone on this board.
So I'd like to make a motion to add Trevor Granger, and I'm looking for a second to our board.
I'll second that because it was recommended by Mark Chipkin, and he did come and speak to the dais to us last week after the meeting, James.
Yeah, just briefly that he knew him, obviously, which is great. But like I said, we only got his resume last night.
I would actually like to be able to look at the resume. I haven't seen it.
It only came yesterday. That's the only reason it wasn't on today, which I responded to, Councilman Mike. I said that, hey, I have another person to interview as well.
No, I understand that.
get that to everybody.
I understand that.
It's
But
not
like I
holding
say,
anything up, obviously.
I didn't have any, I didn't even know who was on this committee that you guys came up with until the day of the meeting, when you guys approved it.
Who's
The
you
fir-
guys?
The first 7, well, you guys approved, all of you guys approved the first 7 people.
Well, we all did, right?
No.
When we were here at the meeting.
Right, and that's the day that I saw it, although I asked for the names repeatedly for like 2 months, and nobody seemed to want to give them to me.
I don't think was the case at all, Councilman Mike.
Who was? And it's on the
And
record here.
it doesn't make sense when you keep saying that. When we started to put together this committee, we asked here at the day, as I said, everybody should email
Yep.
recommendations, right? That's why everyone from you, and obviously, you
Which I
gave-
did. I
you
put
gave-
in
you
2
gave- You gave
recommendations.
2 recommendations. One of them was on the board. The other one actually declined, or they would have been on the board as well. Both
Right.
your recommendations would have been on there.
So my-
everybody knew who was coming on here.
No, I didn't, because I only knew my 2 names, which at the time, I sent to everybody on the board.
Correct.
Nobody else gave me the courtesy of doing that. So,
So-
that's my gripe. I think the process was
Sure.
not open to me particularly.
So 5 of the first 7 that were appointed
It
already
doesn't
hold-
matter the people. I want the process to be different. And in meetings where I say, please email me the recommendations that
Sure.
everybody has, and nobody does it,
Right.
that to me is not an open process.
And again, and no one said no to your recommendation right now. All we said was, we just got his resume yesterday.
Yep.
And again, why that's different from the first 8 people currently on this board is 5 of the 5 initial ones were people already serving within boards, right? CAB, planning, zoning, or the town board. So obviously, there was no reason for anyone here to see their resumes, because you've already seen their resumes, because we've all voted on them for planning, zoning, CAB, or here. And like I said in the previous meeting, the other 2 were George Apap and Jeff Arnold, which I'm very sure everyone on this board and probably everyone in this room is very well aware of who George Apap and Jeff Arnold are.
And to
their
me,
involvement in
again,
the
it's
community.
not about the people that were picked.
But my point.
It's about the process.
No, I understand what you're saying. So my point to you is, there's a difference between Trevor, who, again, I looked at his resume yesterday as soon as he came in. There's a difference between Trevor's resume and George Apap's resume. Would you agree? Do you
Well, I
know who George
looked
Apap is in this community?
No.
Jeff Arnold?
I mean, I know them, but
course
no,
you
I haven't
do.
seen the resumes.
I mean-
But that's not the point. You keep trying to make it about the people that you picked, but
No,
it's
no.
not. It's about the process.
I'm not, Councilman Migan, to your own point, the resume only came in yesterday for Trevor. Yesterday.
However, and I'll
And the
tell
whole board
you,
hasn't even seen it yet.
I'll
They've
tell
never
you
heard from
that-
people.
the,
All I'm saying is give everyone the opportunity to see the resume.
so the other, let me just finish if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Mark Chipkin emailed us on the same day, October 1st, that Jim McCarthy recommended somebody else to go on the board. And that other person was already put on the board. So the timing, I don't understand why.
I don't understand what email you're talking about, actually.
Mark Chipkin sent an email,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sorry, Mark, to use your name, but on October 1st, recommending that this guy, Trevor Granger,
Mm-hmm.
is a good candidate. He talked about him. And that same day, Jim McCarthy sent out an email saying another person after the meeting came up to him, but it was on the same day, October 1st.
But I sent that email out, and I gave the full board 5 or 6
Right.
days to set up an appointment to meet with him, and no one did.
Right.
You
I
had
didn't-
the-
I
Did-
didn't-
did you
I-
reach
I
out to
didn't-
the
I didn't
person?
feel-
No.
I didn't feel the need to.
Okay.
You had a
but
week to do it
I did
versus
send
yesterday
the
was
thing,
last night. No one's saying no to your
and he was
candidate.
on my list when I sent the original list out months ago.
Is there going to be a meeting of this new board over Zoom between now and the first?
Just the initial meeting, the introductory meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
Where 8 people will be there. So again, I think you're missing the point. The difference is that everyone just saw this resume yesterday, and actually, not even everyone saw it yesterday. It's not the same as the list of people who we had, not only, some people we had a few months to review, but
I didn't because I didn't see the list. You keep saying that, but
I didn't see the list. I don't think any of us saw the list until it came out for the agenda.
wait a minute, you just.
You're on the list,
No,
right?
but Councilman
I
Migan,
was on the list.
You're on
Corinne
the
and I were on the
listing.
list from day one.
Councilman Migan, you just.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay, but
No, I mean, not on the list, when
I
he
didn't know
asked
that.
us.
I
Jim,
didn't
hold
know
on a
that.
second. Councilman Migan, we just said that you were given 5 to 6 days to interview the last candidate, and you
Right.
chose not to.
I'm talking
correct?
about the first 7.
I understand.
Yeah,
but-
well, don't.
But
I'm
why is the
not-
first 7 different than the last one? I don't understand what the difference is.
Because
here.
I had the opportunity to look and see the candidate.
And you did not, and why did you not want to interview that candidate? But you want everyone to approve this
I
one
didn't-
without,
I didn't
which, by the
feel-
way,
I didn't
this
feel
one may
the
be a
need.
great candidate. His resume does look good.
It's terrific.
But I've never met him before in my life. I'd like to speak to him face to face as well, or over the phone. I see his resume.
So I spoke to him,
Okay.
and I
I-
sent that to everybody.
Yeah, the email's
which
great.
was something that I wish was done reciprocally.
You just said you chose not to interview the last candidate, which you had a whole working week to interview. You chose
Right,
not to.
I didn't feel the need to, but I knew who the candidate was, right?
Sure.
The first 7 I didn't, other than the picks. Anyway.
So the first
I
meeting is
get it.
scheduled, right?
I get it, I
The
get
first,
it.
the first Zoom introductory meeting is scheduled. Whether this 9th and final person is approved tonight or not is not going to affect the meeting. That's why I said in the previous meeting, when we only had 7, I said I'm trying to get this to 9, and we can add them as we go.
So I would,
Since we were at
I have a
7?
second, and I'd like it called to a vote.
I just have one thing to add that I want to make clear. It was my understanding of this board, and I would have to go back and attempt to find, it on the record or in the minutes, or that it was the supervisor's choice for this board. That was
No.
my understanding
I
of it,
put all these
because I don't
names-
recall ever,
But that's what Nancy said at first, but then she recanted and said it's a board
At
decision.
another meeting,
I
yes.
did.
Whichever.
It's not
But
just
everybody
up to
has
the
voted on
supervisor.
every one of these candidates. It hasn't been a supervisor's choice. I asked you all for recommendations, which you've
Correct.
all provided, correct?
And I
Then-
only
and then-
asked,
And then we voted on them here as a board. It wasn't a supervisor appointment.
I
It was-
only asked to see the candidates prior, who they were. And I asked multiple times.
Can I ask you why you would choose to interview some candidates and then you don't want to interview other candidates, like the
No, I
previous one?
mean, I would like, this is nothing new. I feel like I've been left out of a number of things. And
Let's just focus on this one thing.
the 7 candidates, no, I didn't know about until
So
till that meeting. And it's fine, but I'm not gonna get into particular people with you. I'm talking about,
I don't mean
I'm
that.
talking about the process.
I understand
The
completely.
process to me is flawed.
well, maybe Ian can help us with that.
That's possible.
I don't, go
May I
ahead.
ask a question?
Go
So,
ahead.
just so my understanding, so ideally, we'll want 9 because we also want an odd number. So
Sure. Mm-hmm.
again, just to reiterate and clarify, the first meeting will be just like a get-to-know-you. There'll be nothing being voted on.
Correct, correct.
Thank you. I
That's
just wanted
exactly,
to
yes.
get-
And that
would
was
be-
already, that was already relayed to all the current people on the board and everyone. It's gonna be, it's not even in person, it's a Zoom meeting.
And what's the date of that?
October, is it the end of October? 22nd? October 22nd.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you.
So everyone, please take the opportunity to review the resume. We do have it in our email. Came through at the end of the day yesterday. Take a look at that. And if everyone feels strongly, I mean, we could even have a special meeting and vote on it if everyone feels it's that important. Otherwise, we could just have it at the first meeting in November. The committee already has 8 people on it, has 8 really good people. Whether this 9th person is added or not, right now, is not stopping anything or delaying anything in any capacity. However, if you want this to a vote, Councilman Migan, you need a second, and then I'm happy to call a vote for you.
I think
I
Councilwoman Snow.
had seconded, I did.
Okay, so Councilman Migan,
Aye.
Councilwoman Snow,
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy,
I'm going to sustain because I was away and I haven't even seen the email, so.
okay, Councilman Pitt.
Nay, I stated I haven't seen it.
I'm a
so.
nay until everyone sees the resume as well. All right, and then we could obviously get it back on for the special meeting or the first meeting in November. We can have the resolution available to you. And go ahead, anything else, Councilman Migan?
So no, that was my only comments right now.
Okay, Councilwoman Snow.
I don't have anything tonight.
Councilman McCarthy?
I have nothing.
Councilwoman Pitt?
I was curious to know about Dewey Lane Bridge.
So there was an issue in the I guess in the vetting process of the bids.
Yeah,
I know you guys were looking at it
Yeah.
and because we had a low bidder and then there was when they were qualifying the bids, the second place bidder had a change in the number they submitted. So I guess the hang up here is are they allowed to make that change or not? We're waiting for a legal
Right.
opinion. But we do have 5 or 6 bids that came in. They all look pretty competitive. So we're just waiting on the legal opinion to come back, Corinne, which will get to the whole board, on who ends up being the low bidder or not. There's a discrepancy right now.
And what's our time frame on that, do we feel?
I don't know. I mean, I would think fairly soon. I know they got to get an opinion. They got to speak with DOT and just get an opinion on that, you know, because it is a product that's paid for through a grant, so we have to make sure everything is done perfectly, and then whatever decision is being made, we have to get an opinion back from them that they're going to accept whatever decision is made as well.
So this opinion is, we're gonna have to wait for DOT to come back with an opinion?
I would think this process is very quick, honestly. It's because the bids are already in. So the question is right now is which low bid is going to be accepted. That's where they're going back and forth. I know there's already been dialogue.
Okay.
Yeah.
And about the Dewey Lane Bridge, I know a resident, Mr. Hill, he's usually here every meeting. He came up to us before the last meeting and presented documents to us. My document is still sitting here from the last meeting. I asked him to send that to us in an email form, which I have not received, or I don't know if any of you have seen it. So that document is still sitting here. I'm not quite sure what that's about. But
Yeah.
nothing has come through in an email.
I think he had concerns about trees along the road and what was being taken down for the project, but those would be questions that he'd really have to speak with either the contractor and/or the design engineer. It wouldn't be a town board decision.
Also, just briefly, I just saw something very quickly on the community page about something over in Holmes. Did you see that, Bobby, about a stop sign? Maybe tomorrow we can just connect about that, and that's gonna be county and DOT.
It's where Holmes Road intersects with 292. It's a yield sign,
Right,
and they would like a stop sign, so I've put the proper people together.
okay, through Dutchess County Traffic Safety Board, or?
Yeah, I mean, because it's a state road that intersects with a county
Right.
road and vice versa, the county might not be able to just change it, because sometimes the higher jurisdiction, which would be the state,
Yep.
has to do a whole traffic study and say if you're allowed to change it from a yield to a stop. Yeah,
Are you gonna be over there tomorrow by any chance?
yeah, I will be.
You mind sending me some pictures? Okay. Thank you.
That it?
Yes, sir.
All right, next item on the agenda. Oh, I do want to say congratulate, we put a post up today about our Dutcher Golf Course. We had state recognition today as the oldest still functioning business, / golf course in New York State. I know it's been a long process. I want to thank Sean for all of his work on that, and our state representatives are working as well on that. And the next step now is we'll take it to a federal level for historic notoriety as well, which will end up making it not only safe as a golf course forever, but it'll also, if we can get some federal recognition, it'll probably open that course up to some grant eligibility for some of the projects that go on there. So that would be nice to get that done. But congratulations to Sean and to everyone who's worked on that course through the years and keeping it there. It's a really great thing, and it's finishing another really, really strong year again. So Sean is doing an excellent job with his staff over there. Next item on the agenda will be privilege of the floor with respect to agenda and non-agenda items. Anyone with any comments regarding the agenda or non-agenda items, come on up, state your name and address for the record, and please keep your comments around 3 minutes.
Glenn Carey, Pulling, New York. I did arrive late to the meeting, but I was actually watching the meeting from home and felt that I wanted to come and make some comments. The first thing is, who has the authority to put complaints into someone's personnel file? Who ultimately has that authority? Who makes the decision to put a complaint in a personnel file?
So any person could come in and make a complaint. Any employee or elected official could have a complaint.
Yeah, but who has the authority to put that complaint into someone's personnel file? Somebody
if I could
has
just
to.
interject, I did have this conversation with our human resources consultant, and he basically told me that if the board receives a complaint about someone, they're supposed to put it in that person's file.
Okay.
It's not a discretionary act.
Okay.
Okay, but these are complaints that came, I believe, from within the town government, and therefore, I'll go to part 2 of my point. The town handbook, which is on the town's website in draft form, it's been in draft form with red lines, and it's dated May of 2024, states that any complaints are to be brought to the attention of the supervisor, and the supervisor is to start or commence the process of an investigation. I'm not aware, since Mr. Migan has indicated that he didn't even know about it, that an investigation couldn't have taken place, because Mr. Migan certainly should have been consulted about whatever complaint was in his file.
I'm gonna take this one again. I'm gonna fall on the sword for this one. I have consistently advised the town board that when it comes to elected officials, you have no authority to discipline anyone or really even take it any further. I did talk to our HR consultant about that, just to verify that I was doing the correct thing, and he confirmed that I was. But there is a process in the handbook, and maybe we haven't always been on top of those processes because we didn't have the right HR person, but we do now. So
Well, but
that was
the
part
fact
of
that
the
it
reason
was
why
in
we
your
have an HR
handbook,
person now.
But it was in the handbook, therefore
But,
that
yeah,
was your policy.
I've made this point till I'm blue in the face, and I'll make
I
it
know,
one more
but
time.
what I'm gonna just say
But
is
an
that-
elected official, the town board doesn't discipline
Okay, this
him.
is outside of even elected officials. Are investigations taken place of other complaints that have been put in
Yes.
people's personnel files? They have?
Yes.
Other investigations absolutely have taken place, but we wouldn't, we don't talk about those things up here. That's why it's an investigation
Okay,
personnel file.
well then I'm gonna take another step in Mr. Migan's direction, that since a board member, an elected official, does not have the ability to have an investigation conducted, that an outside investigation probably would make sense. I can understand why he would want an outside investigation done. It's mind-boggling to me that the handbook requires an investigation, and it's also just a little mind-boggling to me that, I'll go back to when I was mayor, which was 30 years ago. If somebody made a complaint about another board member, an elected official, I would have had a conversation as the mayor with the individual that the complaint was made on. And it's really distressing that as an elected official, a complaint is raised that this wasn't even brought up even in executive session, so that Mr. Migan could be made aware and provide the opportunity to defend himself.
Well, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I wouldn't.
I don't think it was. I don't think. I mean, is the board aware of that? Marty says he didn't even know about it.
I think an investigation will handle all that information.
Well, but my point is, if you're going to be putting something
You're assuming.
in someone's file, I'm not assuming, it was put in Mr. Migan's file, a complaint. He knows it. He had to be made aware of that by New York state law, and I'm sure you can concur of this. The governor, a year ago, passed a rule that requires that when someone's personnel file is foiled, the individual needs to be made aware, and they need to be provided the opportunity to review the file before it is released.
And all of those things have happened.
Correct. That's why I know that Mr. Migan knows that a complaint was in his file that he didn't know about and wasn't brought to his attention. Honestly, that's somewhat unconscionable.
That's an assumption. I'm sorry to jump in, but that is a big
I agree with you.
assumption.
It's an assumption.
You don't know that it was never brought to his attention.
That's why an investigation.
Was it
will
brought to
take
the
place.
board's attention?
This is why an investigation will take place. It's the whole
And
point
then,
of
well,
an
again, then that's why I see your point. I'm catching what you're saying to me. That's why I do think that an outside investigation is warranted.
Which is what we've always done, Mr. Kerry, right?
Well, but you didn't vote for that tonight.
Well, what we discussed is having a value attributed to it, but whenever investigations were done, they were outsourced, so that's the process that we've always followed.
Well, but to Nancy's point, an investigation is going to go where it leads. You can't put a time frame on that. Therefore, you can't come up with a cost of what it's going to be, because it's going to lead you in a million directions, and you have to pursue them all.
All I'm looking for is an estimate of cost is all.
Well, I think to Nancy's point, you can't get that.
Yeah.
But also, we didn't have an HR fund either.
I understand, yeah. Another comment for the board? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Could I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go home.